truth and stories gotta collide. Alibis get swept aside. I got proof that can't be denied. The data don't lie, people do. Waves crashing, secrets in the tide. Facts and numbers side by side. Through the chaos I will abide. The data don't lie, people do. Look at the records, feel the vibe. Digits and bytes come alive. I stand tall with nothing to hide. The data don't lie, people do. Friends may twist and tongues may tie. Plausible tales shape the sky. In the end you can verify. The data don't lie, people do. It's in the matrix beyond the eye. Hard truth that's flying by. Evidence you can't defy. The data don't lie, people do. Look at the records, feel the vibe. Digits and bytes come alive. I stand tall with nothing to hide. The data don't lie, people do. Look at the records, feel the vibe. Digits and bytes come alive. I stand tall with nothing to hide. The data don't lie, people do.
Hello, boys and girls. Let me just stop that. How are we all? I decided a bit of music to start the day was in order. Well, it's the start of the day for me anyway. It is 5 a.m. where I live, and I don't know, 6 p.m. in Ireland, and forget the others. You can type in the chat what time it is where you guys are. So, hello, Amy, and hello, Virginia. No, you're in the right stream. Was I a little bit late? Hey, Tommy. Thanks for joining us. Kev, the Sally Port camera. Thank you for modding today. Much appreciated. So, wow, the Easter eggs in Richard Green's report. There was a few of them. So, hey, Cherry Leaf. I don't know how to say that. Thanks for becoming a member. And hello, Kristen. Yeah, you can go away if you're gonna be here for nasty shit. We're not here for nasty shit. We're here to talk about. It's 4 a.m. in Queensland, according to Quizzy. And there's another one set up. Oh, really? Hang on. Hang on. What the heck has happened? Damn it, they do this to me every time. Let's have a quick squiz over here. It has. Oh, I apologize for that. Let me go in there and tell everyone that Restream screwed me over again. Restream screwed us up again. Check the other. Hang on, wait a second. I should have just grabbed that friggin' link while I was in there. Hang on. Let's do this. Copy the link address. Sorry, peeps. Join that one. Okay. Come over, guys. That was a boo-boo, wasn't it? God dang. Hello, Tripping Gauntlet. Thank you for joining us. JC, welcome back. And let's get rid of this shit stir. I need to join the right stream now. Excuse me while I shuffle. Go away, nasty person. We're not here for nastiness. We're here to read this report, and it's a pretty cool report too. Hello, Bino from Ireland. The others will join us shortly. Hello, Kim. 105 in Tennessee. 104 wherever Tommy is. Don't know where Tommy is. Thank you for that tip, Virginia. We got it sorted now, hopefully. Hello, Caroline from England. All right, where are we? Let me get some things up on the screen here. Let's start with, let's go over here. Let me share these two screens. Obviously, I can only do one at a time, but I just want to do a quick rundown on what we're going to be talking about. So, magnet forensics is the Axiom software referred to in these reports. Kevin and Letter Rose by Better, thanks for joining us. Sorry about the steer over there. Restream does it to me every time. It's a pain in the backside. I think I'm joining that stream and then it sparks up a new one. So I've forgotten how to run it. Like, 'cause I haven't had a live stream for what, a couple of weeks? I can't even remember how long. Anyway, good to see you guys too. Thanks. Hey, Stephanie. Thanks for joining us. All right. So, yeah, you'll hear this one mentioned in Richard Green's report. It's a different tool. So often what will happen is the police will use multiple tools generally, and that's to cross-check basically, what am I seeing, what I'm seeing in this software, is it reflected in the other software? And so that cross-checking is important, essentially. Sorry for the noise in the background, I'm trying to shut doors here so my air conditioner's not working so hard. But yeah, they said essentially they will cross-check. Now, from what I understand, there was 5 different software used to cross-check information. 4 of which, if I've got this the right way, but I'm sure I'll be corrected when we start reading this this report. 4 of them were used by Jessica Hyde, and 5 of them were used by Whiffin and Richard Green. So it's pretty much the same thing across the board. If you're going to be looking at data, you want to be able to cross-check your data. And that's why there's so many different types of software involved here. So the other one that's mentioned primarily is obviously this one. Now, I do believe Celebrite has shot themselves in the foot doing what they have done, because essentially, they compete in the same market space, Axiom and Celebrite are competing in the same market space. And so Celebrite saying, well, this is not the case and we're going to change it just because of this particular court case, will probably bump them down a little bit in the demand market. So I don't know that they did themselves any favor. They kind of shot themselves in the foot, but we will go through that in more detail. So I do have a post here. Let me see. I know you guys get annoyed at me because I am on X, and well, you probably should just thank me, because this is where I get my updates from about what's going on in the case, and different feedback from people, like especially other software engineers and people who are understanding what's going on here. They will make posts and we all sort of like compare notes and work out what we're thinking. So just say thank you that I'm on X and you're not, because it's messy shit over there. You need to have broad shoulders to be able to be on X, and lucky for you, I do. So let's just bring up this tab and shuffle this around a little so you can see what we're doing here. It's probably smaller again, but let's put me over here. So this post here is sort of pointing out what I'm saying about Celebrite kind of bumping themselves down on the demand list a bit. It's by Alexis K. In September 2023, the prosecution desperately needed Jen McCabe's Google search to disappear, and Hyde's report just wasn't cutting it. So they reached out to Celebrite, and as luck would have it, they encountered Ian Whiffin. Ian Whiffin is a product manager at Celebrite who apparently won't hesitate to have information removed from Celebrite's reports if it means that he'll have another opportunity to showcase his ArtX tool while collecting a bonus check from the NCDAO. By November 7th, 2023, Whiffin had submitted his report to the prosecution and was preparing his expert testimony for the Karen Reid trial, but he knew that Green's analysis was correct and that Jen McCabe had conducted that search at 2:27 a.m. So as a physical analyzer product manager, Whiffin went to Celebrite's programmers and said that the timestamp in question was causing so much confusion that tech support was getting flooded with questions, allegedly, and that it would be best to just remove it entirely. Fast forward to 1 week before the trial, Ian Whiffin sent an email to Richard Green notifying Green that the timestamp in question was going to be removed from the next version of Celebrite's physical analyzer, version 7.69, even though 7.68 was just released 22 days prior in April. Let all that sink in. This was not a mere coincidence. Let's switch over to that image. Ian Whiffin was fully aware of Green's findings and essentially destroyed evidence. Also note the DE prefix in the ticket ID. This was not a change due to user-identified issue. So Ian Whiffin, per MA law, intimidated a witness in a high-profile murder case and destroyed evidence. And so, yeah, DE that's what he's talking about, that initials there. The last visited timestamp is not the issue here. It's the tab creation date that's actually the issue here. So, well, according to Ian Whiffin, anyway. But anyway, that's interesting, right? Very interesting information. So, oh, that's what he was. Right, okay, we're going to read that shortly. Excuse me. Okay, so that's interesting because that is exactly how it looks to me. I completely agree with that synopsis. So let me just do a quick run through. Quick run through. Hi, Caroline. Hello, Moon Goddess. I think I already said hello to Caroline. Hello, Paul. Thanks for joining us. I've been listening to you all day at work. You helped me get through it, through the work. Yeah, good on you. One was from 2 months ago, the Sean McDonough files. Yeah, those were very interesting. Green may be polite, but the Commonwealth learned quickly that he's highly intelligent and thorough. Exactly, JC. This one's going to bite them in the butt, I think. So, I do agree with that synopsis. I do believe that Whiffin has deliberately done this, and that there was no concern about this prior to him testifying in this particular case. So, just to clear it up, just because the new version of Celebrate will no longer show that field does not mean that the field no longer exists. It just means that the image that you're seeing on the screen that Celebrate pulls up for you is not going to show it, but it's still there in the data. And the interesting thing I find about this, as a person who actually writes the code that would insert records into the database, is the only way that that could be confusing is if that code changed. So let's say the codes person decided all of a sudden to rewrite that section that saves when a tab was first open. There's specific fields for those things to go in: when the tab was first open, when it was first accessed, when it was last accessed. There's different fields for those to go in. So the coder is the one who could be the only person or the only entity that could cause this error that Ian Whiffin is calling out here. So we know that the code never changed. We know that because Green actually discusses that as a brief sort of, addresses it briefly. So we know the code didn't change. The code's still doing, exactly what it's supposed to do. Hello, Alexis. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad that you can watch us later. Everyone is welcome. So let's move over to the report now. So let's do a refresh. Share this tab. Do that and that. Now let me just check on the screen that you all can see what I can see. All right. We are good. So I'll zoom in on this in a second, but that's basically Richard Green introducing who he is, and his company is called United States Forensic LLC, hereinafter called USF. So I'm pointing that out because when he starts the report part, he talks about USF. Whoop, whoop. Hey, get a grip. Oh, come on. Hang on, let me remember how to do zoom on this stupid thing. Zoom, 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 zoom. I forget where the zoom is. I think it's that one. There we go. Sorry, I've never driven flip HTML before, so here we go. Oh, it's not reflecting as zoomed over here. Why is that? Or was it? And it just zoomed back out. Must have been. All right, guys. Obviously, I have to stay on this page or it zooms back out. So all the rest of this is just, his resume, essentially his CV of where he's worked. So initial data production. His company was initially provided with a Celebrite UFED report produced by version 7.53, prepared by Trooper Nicholas Guarino with the Massachusetts State Police, which was labelled as a full file system extraction of an iPhone 11 with serial number blah, belonging to Jennifer McCabe. In the initial report prepared by Trooper Guarino, the 2:27 a.m. search for House Long to die in cold did not appear, and that by itself is 1 point. He tried to leave it out of his initial report. Recognizing that this report was not the best evidence, I personally requested the image file for the phone in question, which I had reason to believe was produced using the Grey Key product based on the naming convention contained within the Celebrite report. Grey Key, let's get that one up. Grey Key. That's also magnet forensics. So Celebrite essentially has Celebrite actually does all of its different products as like add-ons, whereas Grey Key puts them out as separate applications. And so you can consider it as like a add-on to magnet forensics. But anyway, Grey Key can provide same-day access to the latest iOS and Android devices, often in 1 hour. Whereas Axiom is the software that you would use to analyze that evidence, essentially. So just to make sure that's all clear. Right, let's continue on. So that's essentially what he's saying. Let's get the right button for this again. In that first sentence, or that first paragraph, essentially. So in the next paragraph, he tells us that he never actually got anything to verify the data, that he was essentially just looking at a PDF. I subsequently received a USB drive containing a forensic image of the phone, now described as J. McCabe, belonging to Jennifer McCabe, which was forensically imaged by the Mass State Police using a tool known as Grey Key. The USB drive containing the forensic image was sent to us by Assistant District Attorney A.D.A. Lally with the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office by way of Trooper Guarino with the Mass State Police. Upon receipt, the USB containing the image of Jennifer McCabe's cell phone was assigned an internal evidence number. Notably, the USB drive containing the forensic image failed to include the associated documentation containing the hash value. I've been screaming about this from day dot. Without the hash value, nobody can verify if the data that they're looking at actually did come from that phone or if it was introduced afterwards. Which is a well-known mechanism used to validate the data and ensure that it has not changed or otherwise been manipulated. After personally insisting that the Mass State Police provide the hash value associated with this data, USF was eventually provided with a PDF containing the purported hash value, and the value listed within that PDF matched the Grey Key file image of the cell phone in question. That's not verification. Grey Key has inside the software a place where you type this number. Sorry, not where you type the number. It has an import feature. Let me get it right, because I've played with all of these softwares. I'm trying to remember which is which. Grey Key imports the hash file that was mentioned here that they wouldn't send him. It imports that hash file, and then it will verify by that import whether or not that image has not been tampered with or manipulated. So, nice try, Trooper Guarino, but no, a PDF doesn't cut it. After obtaining the full file system extraction of the data, whoops, I did it again, sorry, contained on Jen McCabe's phone, the data images were processed and reviewed with Celebrite Physical Analyzer and Axiom Forensics. Still not verified data, but he's got what he's got. He hasn't really got any choice. So you'll know that I had a meltdown about this already, that nobody was using verified data. Everyone was making assumptions on data that we really couldn't be sure was the original data from the phone. So, Moon Goddess, I'm so excited you're going over this because I sweat up your alley. Did you trigger Siri then, did you? Hey, Jim Riddle, thanks for joining us. Hope you're nice and warm. Here it is 5 degrees. Freedom is a beautiful thing, isn't it? Yes, we are very warm here. In fact, I've got the air conditioner on. So, rather cool inside. Hi, Sassy Bartender. Thanks for joining us. So, yeah, nobody still has verified that the data that they have to analyze, have been given to analyze, is legitimate data. And you know why they're not giving it to him? Because it's going to show that it's not legitimate data, obviously. So, opinion number 1. It is my opinion, based on a reasonable degree of scientific certainty, that the user of Jennifer McCabe's cell phone searched House Long to die in the cold at or before 2:27 a.m. In my professional experience, an analysis of a device's internet search history often gives valuable clues as to the user's intent or knowledge surrounding an incident. There is your first Easter egg. It is to do with intent and knowledge around the incident. I conducted a review of the search history information obtained from Jennifer McCabe's iPhone 11 and observed the following significant artifact from the morning in question as reported by Celebrite Physical Analyzer version 7.61. How are we doing over here, guys? Hello, Life Art. Thanks for joining us. Right, so we're good? We're good over here? Cool. Let's turn the page. I actually got to zoom out to turn the page, so that's fun. Love that for me. Hopefully you guys can actually read along. Celebrite and Axiom Forensics version 6.11, which were the most recent versions of the respective tools at the time I conducted my initial analysis. The search, House Long to Die in Cold, the last viewed date time was that morning at 2:27. There's the search link through to Google. Source Safari suspended state tab. Deleted type wall. Write ahead log. Sorry. Celebrite processing. In Celebrite Physical Analyzer 7.61, the 2:27 a.m. search not only showed up in the web history, but Celebrite further refined the result and included it in the search items artifact section. It was marked as a deleted record with an adjusted last view stamp of January 29, 2:27 a.m. UTC -5. So that's converted to local time. Noting the inconsistencies in Celebrite's reporting between the UFED report generated by version 7.53 and Celebrite's Physical Analyzer 7.61, I contacted Celebrite's technical support to inquire if they could provide additional information about this artifact. Celebrite's technical support staff indicated they believed the artifact was reliable and that no issues had been brought to their attention. Oh my god. What date was that? Wait. I don't know what date that was. On April 22nd, the Commonwealth expert Ian Whiffin emailed me. Wait, what? What is a witness for the Commonwealth doing directly contacting a witness for the defense without going through the lawyers? The lawyers are supposed to be doing these transactions, not the witnesses. I don't think that's I won't say legal, but I actually don't know. I don't think that's legal. I think that the witnesses actually do have to make contact through the lawyers. I don't know about how that is with Massachusetts state law. The last visited time shown in PA will be getting removed from the artifact of Physical Analyzer. Will be getting removed from the artifact in the next available version of Physical Analyzer, 7.69. After the start of trial in this case in late May of 2024, Celebrite released Insight's Physical Analyzer, version 10.2, which removed the 2:27 timestamp from its processing of the artifact. It hasn't removed it, as Whiffin says, hasn't removed it from the data, it's just not showing it to you on the screen anymore. Shortly after trial, on July 22nd, Celebrite released its Celebrite Physical Analyzer Standard 7.69, which also removed the 2:27 a.m. timestamp from its processing of the artifact. Notably, Celebrite is a company that markets itself as providing digital intelligence solutions for law enforcement and is used by over 6,900 public safety agencies in over 100 countries worldwide, including Australia. Although I am aware that Celebrite recently changed its analyzer programs so that it no longer reports on the timestamp of this particular artifact, I have not misinterpreted the data. And this is how you can prove it, because you check it with other forensic software. Axiom processing. Axiom is an application product offered by Magnet Forensics, which is a competitor of Celebrite. Best practices in digital forensics require forensic examiners to first check the hash value, to view data and artifacts with more than one tool. Therefore, I also processed the image of Jennifer McCabe's iPhone using Axiom 6.11. Axiom 6.11 reports the 2:27 a.m. search artifact for House Long to Die in the Cold, with a last view time of 2:27:40 a.m. in the Safari Suspended State tabs section. Shortly thereafter, God damn it, this thing's hard to read through because of the way the reader works. Cheating to get the answer he's paid to get exactly, Jim. This is exactly what's happening. Let me just scroll back because I'm missing all your, because I have to stay on the other tab, I'm missing all of your comments. So, thank you, Just Me. Much appreciated. Love you too. And what else have we got? Yes, it's all very abnormal, right? So Ian the buffoon. I totally agree, Jim. So let's continue reading. This stupid document is very difficult. So shortly thereafter, I contacted Magnet Forensics technical support to see if additional information could be provided regarding this artifact. I was advised by technical support that the 2:27 a.m. timestamp indicates that the search would have occurred sometime at or before 2:27 a.m. time indicated. Since my initial analysis, USF has upgraded to the more advanced Axiom Cyber Physical Analyzer 8.8, which was released on the 17th of December 2024. This version of Axiom continues to report the above artifact with an even more precise last view date of, wow, so 2:27 to be precise, in the Safari Suspended State tab, marked as deleted. Moreover, Axiom's user manual describes this artifact as follows: Safari Suspended State tabs, last interaction date. There's another column in the table, last interaction date. So not only do you have a last viewed time and date, but now you've got another column called the last interaction time and date. And I showed you all these columns in one of the last live streams that I did. So the only way that those things can get confused with what's going in them is if the code itself that writes the data to those things, if the code itself gets changed. That's the only way it can happen. As the date, last interaction, as the date and time of the current tab state when it was last interacted with on the local device. This date and time will reflect when the user has last interacted with this tab in Safari, or if the tab auto-refreshed, which is kind of what Ian Whiffin was trying to suggest, on the local device only. In order to validate this timestamp, I looked at numerous examples of web sessions on Jennifer McCabe's device, including URLs containing Raining Men, CantonMA.org, Hockomock Sports, and Eastern Bank. In all of these instances, the browser state DB entry appears at the end of the session. This is consistent with how Magnet describes this artifact. The code is written to the database at the end of the session. In order to confirm the accuracy of this search event, as reported in Celebrite Physical Analyzer 7.61, and consistently throughout multiple versions of Axiom, I then independently performed a low-level analysis of the artifact, which was located in the browser state DB write ahead file. Write ahead files are temporary in nature and show the location where the data is written before commits to the database are made. The particulars of this artifact are as follows. It was found in this database. It has a record ID, I've been talking about that a lot as well, of 4028. Raw time data, time converted to UTC. So that time there is UTC without the -5 hours for the local area. So when you adjust it to local time for that area, it becomes 227.40 point whatever milliseconds. I would also note the Trooper Nicholas Guarino's report labeled blah blah PDF specifically mentions that he also used the Axiom product to process the forensic image of Jennifer McCabe's iPhone. I personally tested the earlier version of Axiom, which would have been used in February, and determined that the 2:27 a.m. version of the search was reported by Axiom as having a last viewed time of 2:27:40. Axiom has a similar feature to Celebrate with their creation of a portable case. This exculpatory information has never been turned over to the defense. Huh. That, my dear friends, is a freaking Brady violation. If ever I heard one. Right, let's see if you guys have got any questions before I go on. Where are we? Again, so many people. Right, what are we reading? Think kindness is the same as weakness. Now they have provoked the bear. Go Richard Green. Exactly, Carla. And he's not changing his report, incidentally. He's adding more detail to the report to verify what he has already stated in his previous report, but he's not changed his hey Biffle. It has not changed his opinion at all. But we will not find that same thing with Miss Jessica Hyde in this report. So Scotty, so good of you to join us. Well, I shouldn't have done that. I took a swig and it went down the wrong hole again. I do it every stream, don't I? Trying to talk while I'm drinking. All right. We're good. Any questions, class? Did anything come up there that you need me to clarify? Because as someone who understands what's being said there, I may overlook something that you guys who are not tech heads may not have understood. So if there is something that is read and I breeze over it and don't explain it to you, or you got a question about it, I want you to ask, because that's what I'm here for. So yeah, awesome. Thank you heaps, Kevin, for keeping everything under control over here. I appreciate your help. And also Scotty, thank you, because I'm pretty sure you're a mod too. Although if I had to guess, I would say you're probably modding multiple streams as per usual. But thanks anyway. Literally. All right, yeah, so if I breeze over a paragraph or a sentence and you have a question about it that I haven't explained very well, please do put it in the chat. And I am still checking in the whoa I am still checking in the chat. Oh my god, when it works one way and then it doesn't work the other, it's frustrating. Okay, I used 3 additional forensic tools. So he's used It's 5 all up. So he used Axiom, Grey Key, and Celebrate. He's actually used 6 so far. But like I said, 2 are sort of like part of the same package. So to conduct a low-level analysis of the artifact in question, including Belkasoft, Sanderson Forensic Browser, and Artex 2, a research-based program created by the Commonwealth's expert Ian Whiffin, which only has approximately 600 users worldwide. Incidentally, in our last stream on this particular topic, we discovered that it was actually getting flagged by the Windows platform as malware or something. Apparently had to release 6.2 to fix that issue. And it was after we did our stream, so who knows where he picked that up from. Green should have made the analogy for the hash to a tamper-proof envelope. He should have done a lot of things, but we'll see how he explains it to the jury this time, because you know what he's listing here is like it's like a expert beat off, if I can call it that. But when it comes to the jury, I think he'll actually be a lot more gentle and explain it more clearly, in layman's terms. So, hi Simi, thanks for joining us. Richard Green is basically blowing up Whiffin and Hyde's takes on Jennifer McCabe's cell phone records. We believe Trooper Nicholas Guarino did a lot of work to her phone, the usual suspect in every single case, right, Scott? He's the same suspect in the Sandra Birchmore case. Is he not the same suspect in the Justin Reed case? Like, there's all of these common elements between all of these cases, right? So, yeah, interesting. All right, I have to quickly blow my nose. I got a little sniffle because I got hay fever again. Quick pause. All right, coffee swig. Good morning, Eddie. Thanks for joining us. Let's go again. This thing's frustrating. What did I read up to? 600 users worldwide. Ha ha ha. Throw some shade on that dude. I wonder how many users. Hang on, let me just Google this so I can see. How many users worldwide of magnet forensics tools? 4,000 public and private sector customers in more than 100 countries. Probably find that Celebrate is a little bigger. It is 6,900. So there you go. Over 100 countries. Interesting, right? Yes, I have the summer hay fevers. Yes, indeed, JC, there is. All right. Whoops. Hang on. Where did I go? Where did we go? All right. Do that first, or else it does weird shit on me. All three of these programs show data consistent with the search for how long to die in the cold with a last viewed time. A last viewed time column or field of 22740 being found on record 4028. all times listed have been converted to Cant and MA local time, which is UTC minus 5 hours, unless otherwise noted. Thus, I was able to independently verify, using additional forensic tools, that the last viewed time and date and fact of the search was accurate. Artifact, I think that was meant to be, of the search is accurate. It is my opinion, based on a reasonable degree of scientific certainty, that the user of Jennifer McCabe's cell phone searched How Long to Die in Cold at or before 2:27 a.m. I have also consistently reported the existence of 2 additional search artifacts found on the forensic image of Jennifer McCabe's iPhone, which suggests that the user of Jennifer McCabe's iPhone made 2 additional similar searches later that morning, one at 6:23 and one at 6:24. It is my opinion, based on a reasonable degree of scientific certainty, that the 2:27 a.m. search artifact was deleted by either deliberate user interaction or manual post-imaging manipulation of the data by some unknown individual, not mentioning any names, Trooper Guarino. There's so much shade. So much shade. All right. We're good over here. We're good. I'm loving the shade. The shade is awesome. It is uncontested that the 2:27 a.m. search artifact found in record 4028 is in a deleted state. Databases contain tables with numerous fields, and in some cases there is a programmed field entry to indicate whether a record is live or deleted. Programmed as in the code is written into the code. And unless the code changes, it can't be a mistake. With regard to the browser state DB, which is the database issue here, there is no such field to indicate whether a particular record is live or deleted. Well, that's because it's reflected in the files, the session files that I've discussed already. However, based on the characteristics of the data contained within the associated write-ahead log, the forensic tools indicate that 2:27 a.m. search found in record 4028 is in a deleted state. There are several reasons why data may appear to be in a deleted state, which include a deliberate user interaction, which Ian Whiffin did agree with when he testified, an automated function of the operating system, i.e. written into the code, a system application or a operating system update, again, code, the actual code that writes this to the databases, a malfunction of the operating system or hardware, or manual post-imaging manipulation of the data itself. I address each of these potential scenarios in turn. Let's go straight to Trooper Guarino first. Manual post-imaging manipulation of the data. So what he's saying here is that Trooper Guarino has the image of Jen's cell phone. He sees this like exculpatory information, and he deletes it from the image. So therefore, Jen McCabe doesn't know anything about it. Nobody else knows anything about it. Only Trooper Guarino does. So that's what he's suggesting here. Post-imaging, after the image was taken off the phone. Typically, data collections have an associated hash value, which is unique to that set of data. The hash value is created using an algorithm and is a well-known mechanism used to validate the data and ensure that it has not changed or otherwise been manipulated. In this case, USF was originally supplied with a forensic image of Jen's cell phone, which was created with a tool known as Grey Key from ADA Lally by way of Trooper Guarino. However, and remarkably, the associated documentation containing the hash value needed to validate the image was not provided with the initial USB drive containing the forensic image. This was incredibly unusual. In all my years working as a forensic examiner, this is the first time I have ever received a forensic image of a phone without the corresponding hash files. And it would have been for Ian Whiffin too. Don't raise an eyebrow, Ian Whiffin. Just tell them what you paid to tell them. After personally insisting that the Mass State Police provide the hash value associated with this data, USF was eventually provided with a PDF, not the actual files that Grey Key uses. However, as Mr. Whiffin acknowledges in his report, the Celebrate program cannot validate the data because the value is unsigned. In other words, the Grey Key image of Jen's cell phone could have been manipulated and then rehashed after the manipulation, and still show the same resulting hash value included in the PDF file. Yes, there is a way that can happen too, and people have been actually saying that to me. It could have been rehashed and produced the same value. But that's why you have the original, when Grey Key extracted the image and created its hash file, external hash file, and then you use that external hash file to feed the algorithm back into the Grey Key. That's the way it's technically done. All of this is a way to manipulate it so that Grey Key would pick this up. If they'd have sent the files that Grey Key uses, it would have picked all this up and said, no, this has been tampered with. So typically, forensic examiners are provided with the raw image file and the associated hash value documentation together. After validating the hash value, I would then accept that data. I would accept that the data has not been manipulated. Here, however, the hash documentation was not provided with the raw image of the cell phone. Instead, it was withheld from the defense. As a forensic examiner, having received hundreds of image phones over the course of my decades-long career, this was unprecedented. In addition to law enforcement's failure to initially provide the hash documentation associated with the raw image of Jennifer McCabe's cell phone, there were additional anomalies within the processed data that are suggestive of manipulation, as reported by tools such as Axiom and Celebrate. Oh no, there's more. It's like a bad TV ad, but wait, there's more. Thank you for the gifted memberships, Lumpy. Sim Sharp received one. Froggy Smiles, Out and About with Diane, Please Explain, and Mama Bug. So thank you so much for that, Lumpy Oatmeal. And you're welcome. Appreciate it. One love, everybody. One love. So yes, it's like a cheesy TV ad, right? But wait, there's more. Page over. Right. These anomalies are discussed in further detail below, along with other anomalies in this case, including law enforcement's failure to properly document the chain of custody of items of evidence, inconsistencies in official reports and testimony regarding the collection of evidence, law enforcement's failure to properly photograph and document the evidence, and the destruction of other crucial electronic data are all suggested are all suggestive of post-imaging manipulation. So when he says evidence, each time he says evidence, he's talking about the actual phone itself. So law enforcement's failure to properly document the chain of custody of that phone, inconsistencies regarding the collection of the phone. We don't know where the phone came from. It just appeared out of the blue. Kerry says she found it on the ground, yet Kerry is not on camera finding it on the ground from the dash cams. Law enforcement's failure to properly photograph and document the phone, and the destruction of other crucial electronic data. So he's referring to the phone in all of those cases. Malfunction of the operating system or hardware. In my experience, iPhone hardware and the iOS operating system are very reliable. In this case, there is no data or evidence to suggest that a malfunction of the operating system or hardware caused the deleted record. And the way you test that, the way that Apple would have you do it too, but the way you test that is you try to reproduce the error. So you just open a couple of tabs and see if you get the same problem. So if it's written hard-coded in the actual code, this problem, then you'll be able to reproduce it. So often when you say, you might report to Apple, I got X problem with my phone, they'll ask you to screen record, recreate that problem. And that way it's proving that it's actually the software, the code that's causing the problem. System application or operating system update, same thing again. It's attempts to reproduce the error, basically. And if you can't reproduce the error, then it's not the code doing it. So he says the structure of the database can change from version to version. So the columns and rows, probably not rows, but columns, the names of columns or how many columns that are recording what can change over different systems, different versions of systems. So we talked about that in my last live stream about the same topic. Upon analyzing Jen's phone, I was able to determine that iOS on this device was updated to version 15.2 on January 24th, 2022. This update occurred before the record in question was generated and would not have been a cause of the deletion because the update happened first, obviously. Weeks before, not even like the update happened, and it might have been updating which caused the error. So weeks before. Automated function of the operating system, i.e. written into the code. The artifact in question is found in a write-ahead log. The data is written to a temporary WAR file in order to aid in speed and ensure data integrity. You can think of this as the database being a series of Excel spreadsheets where the data is structured into fields, rows, and columns, and the WAR file as a notepad text document where you are quickly adding data that you intend to eventually write into the Excel spreadsheets. The mechanism for writing the data from a temporary WAR file to the associated database is called a checkpoint. So this is the automated function, is a checkpoint. Here, with regard to the 22740 House Long to Die in the Cold War file issue, the data establishes that the last checkpoint occurred on the 28th of the 1st at 7:39 a.m. This is the day before. Therefore, the deleted state of the 4028 record is not a function of the WAR file being written to the database because the last checkpoint, the automated part of this process, occurred the day before. I am unaware of any internal mechanism for spontaneous record deletion. Mr. Whiffin also testified to the same thing. Whiffin similarly concedes in his report that he is unaware of any internal mechanism for spontaneous record deletion. Deliberate user interaction. As stated above, there is no internal field within the browser state DB database to indicate whether the artifact in question was user deleted, i.e., a column labeled deleted with a corresponding entry of yes or no. No such field exists in the browser state DB database. So the structure of the database never had a column for this information. However, as explained in further detail below, additional anomalies found on the phone strongly suggest that this data was either the result of deliberate user interaction or post-imaging manipulation. Correct. We always knew that, didn't we? It's a wonder he's still employed. Exactly. He has really given it to them. Indeed. Ian Whiffin's app has 600, according to Green. He really was advertising his product, but apparently not very well. That's right, Laura. And, thanks for joining us. And, the putting his app front and center in this case is really only going to give him clients for defense, not clients for prosecution. So he kind of narrowed it down again. Like he kind of halved his audience there by doing this, if that makes sense. The Whiffin report. Dun dun dun. The Whiffin report. All right, where was I? Oh, I was over here, wasn't I? Oh my god, I forgot what I just last read. Okay, post-imaging and manipulation. One or the other. It has to be one or the other. So he's narrowing down by going through things like methodically here. He's narrowed it down to it has to be this or it has to be this. So my forensic analysis of the cell phone uncovered numerous anomalies or unusual deviation from what is standard, normal, or expected in a typical case. The following anomalies further support that the artifact in question was deleted either through user interaction or through post-imaging manipulation. It's got to be one or the other. Anomaly 1. The most up-to-date version of Cellbrite Physical Analyzer called Insights 10.4 reports 4,560 searches with only one search being marked as deleted. Dun dun dun! Only one. Only one out of all of the searches she's done, only that incriminating one. The only search marked as deleted in the most up-to-date version is the incriminating search, record 40228. This strongly suggests that this search was targeted for deletion. The user targeted or the cops targeted. There's only two options here. The tab ID for record 4028 is I already told you about the ID. Gets put into all of the databases so that everything connects back up again to that tab by its ID number. Also, this number is used in the session files, which is where other information about that search is also stored. This number is unique to the tab in question and would have been used for all URL history in that specific tab within this particular database. The Commonwealth has claimed that the actual website being visited during this period was Hockey Mock Sports. However, the tab ID, dun dun dun, recorded at 227 associated with Hockey Mock Sports is this number. So when we're saying tab, we're saying that tab that was opened is being given this ID number. So any record in any database, be it browser state DB or any other WAR file, whatever, it's going to have this number associated with it for that tab, for record 4028. He's saying that another tab was created for the search that Whiffin is claiming is that tab. Thus, the records in question clearly established that the Hockey Mock Sports activity was conducted in a completely different tab than the search for House Long to Die in Cold, which also showed activity at 2:27 a.m. just seconds later. Hockey Mock Sports showed activity at 2:27 a.m. just seconds later. Someone's trying to cover their tracks. Not smart enough, Jenny Jen. Anomaly 3. Hang on, before we do anomaly 3, doubly checking what questions we have. Green leaves no he does. No stone unturned and nothing to guess. Yep. No shade, Whiffin, no shade. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying that. Mr. Green took off the gloves. He did indeed, Jim. Jim. He did indeed. So, because the Commonwealth has got 2 experts to dispute him, I just have to wonder if having 2 experts to dispute them might be worth the go here. But the fact that they're still paying Green to continue focusing on that gives us one of our Easter eggs, okay? Obviously, we're still going with third-party defense here. We can expect in this trial 2.0, the third-party defense is still going to be, opening statements are going to be, Karen Reed was framed. So, we're good with that. We're good with that, right, guys? We're good with that? I think we are. So, there's another Easter egg for you. And also that it can only be a manipulation of the files. And then what corroborates that is the fact that they won't give him the files that he needs to put it into grey key to verify what he's looking at. So the Easter eggs are abundant here. Anomaly 3. The Commonwealth's expert, Miss Hyde and Mr. Whiffin, opined that 4028 record with the 227 timestamp initially would have been associated with the House Long to Die in Cold search. They both claimed that. I have examined. Give me 1 sec. I need to blow my nose again. Apologies for that. Okay. I have examined the multiple rights of the 4028 record contained within the browser state DB WAR file, and in all instances, the URL containing the House Long to Die in Cold was present. I see no evidence of the 4028 record containing a different or blank for that field. Dun dun dun! It was deleted, making it blank. Anomaly 4. The search artifacts associated with it, associated with how long to die in cold and how long to die in kicked and how long to die in cold later on, are all missing information that would be expected in the history of DB file. Mr. Whiffin opines that the load was likely never successful as it was never populated in the history DB database. However, the Google suggestion artifact for how long to digest food appears at 6:23 a.m. along with a picture. This indicates that the cell phone in question had internet connectivity. I just had a horrible feeling that I was still muted. But since we've had to zoom out to come back here. Hi Candy, thanks for joining us. JC says, if Jen McCabe were trying to hide a note, she wrote in a journal instead of crossing out the search and writing on the same page. She tried to tear out the page and write on a new page. I think that there's a bit of both happening here. I think you could actually be right. So I think Guarino has also tampered with some things to try and hide what was going on there. I think what you're saying would have been too easy to disprove had Trooper Guarino not meddled with things. Let's put it that way. Trooper Guarino may have tinkered with the history. I'm not sure he is that smart. I think... All right, let's think about motivation. What is his motivation? His motivation is to remove Jen from the equation of looking like she had guilty knowledge, right? So who's he going to call in to help him save Jen McCabe? Obviously her husband, who does have these smarts. Or at least has, a tribe of people who work for him with these smarts. So, yeah. Thanks for joining us, Candy. We all need a dot dot dot. Okay, I'll make you a dot 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 emoji. I shall do that. I forget how to make the emojis and put them in, but I'm sure I actually have been asking my son to do it, but he doesn't like having to be restricted to the certain restrictions on how you make emojis. He doesn't like those restrictions. He wants to be like fully artistic, and you can't do that with emojis, but we'll have a go at it. Lumpy oatmeal. We'll have a go. All right, so where was I? We are honing this down to how this could have been done, aren't we? This indicates that the cell phone in question had internet connectivity at the time of 6:24 a.m. and contradicts Mr. Whiffin's speculative suggestion that the load did not complete. The knowledge C information, anomaly 6. The knowledge C information for the how long to die in the cold search appears to be out of order. Knowledge C artifacts typically run a few seconds after the event in question because it's the event that triggers it. Of course, it's run after. You can't have it go, you know what, I'm going to run some lines of code for an event that hasn't happened yet. That doesn't happen. It's the event that triggers the knowledge C artifacts being recorded. The plist time for how long to die in kicked, recorded at 6:23 a.m. has a corresponding knowledge C time entry of 6:23:57 a.m., 6 seconds later. Typically, the knowledge C artifact appears seconds after the plist entry. So 6 seconds appears to be, by my understanding, a deliberate time delay written into the code. So don't do this straight away. Don't record this straight away so we don't have any errors in this here that Ian Whiffin can call an error. Let's wait 6 seconds and then record it so we're not creating errors because things were done too quickly after each other. That's what that reads to me. The corresponding, hang on, did I skip something here? However, the 624 plist entry for How Long to Die in the Cold is followed by a knowledge C time of 624 and 24 seconds, 6 seconds later. So that's consistent that it's the code that was told, wait 6 seconds before we do this roo-roo. The corresponding knowledge C entry for How Long to Die in the Cold does not show up until hours later, not written by the code. Dun dun dun! At 10:33 a.m. This is unusual and deviates from what is typically observed. Indeed, Mr. Green. Every time I say Mr. Green, I feel like Sherlock Holmes or one of those guys. So, yes, we're good. We're good over here. Just checking. We're good. No questions. Either I'm explaining shit clearly or Green's doing it as well. So, oops, hang on. What was I up to? The plist time, anomaly 7, right? Right. I was up to that. Whew. Anomaly 7. Trooper Greeno's April 24 report shows that he took custody of the phone. The actual goddamn phone. However, the grey key log indicates that the device was not accessed for imaging until 2 hours later. Or converted locally as 2:25 p.m. The report also indicates he was given the password to the phone. Nowhere within the reports does it explain the time delay between receiving the device and imaging the device. 2 hours. They certainly didn't interrogate her for 2 hours, did they? Normally when you see, the body cam footage or even the interrogation room footage, they'll say, can we image your phone? They'll go, yeah. One guy will leave. He'll go off to give it to the people to image it while they're actually doing the interrogation or the interview. And then the phone will come back during that interview. Here's your phone back. We've got your image. Thank you very much. So that's what Greeno's describing there. It is my opinion, based on a reasonable degree of scientific certainty, that the 2:27 a.m. search artifact for How Long to Die in the Code was deleted by either deliberate user interaction or manual post-imaging manipulation of the data by some unknown individual. I'm going to hazard a guess we're at the Trooper Guarino, some unknown individual, because Jen and Matt McCabe can't do this SQL manipulation. I didn't think either of them can do that, like themselves, to the phone physically. I think they had to take it in there, get the image, and then get him to give them access to it. That's where I think we're heading at the moment. The methodology I use to evaluate the search artifact, as described in this affidavit, is generally accepted in the digital forensic scientific community and is consistent with the applicable National Institute of Standards and Technology guidelines shown in the Digital Investigation Techniques, a NIST specific foundation review and is attached as Exhibit B. You want the scientific basis? Bam! Take that. What's his name again? Brennan. Take that pooh, in the eyeball. So, essentially, Brennan's interrogation of the lovely Dr. Russell tipped his hand. It tipped Green's hand. Oh, I know what you're going to ask. if this has to go to a Daubert, I know you're going to ask, what is the scientific foundation for this? Bum, bum, bum. Take Exhibit E in the eyeball. Any questions, class? Let's have a look. Do we have any questions? Hey, Suzanne, thanks for joining us. When I hear Mr. Green, I always think of Clue and Mr. Green. Right. Kevin says, as the insider's son should consider going to law enforcement. They let him be creative as hell with the evidence. No restrictions. Is the same technology that would keep my CDs from skipping as I drove down a rough road. That is the same technology that keeps your CDs from skipping. I'm not sure which technology. I might have to go back and find your last question. Or your last comment. Yes, McCabe's a techie. Not sure what you're referring to there. So, someone with superior computer technology. Zoom in and check Brian's house. I see movement by the window. He was awake. Superior computer technology. Zoom in and check Brian's house. You're talking about in the dash cam footage, Eric? And hi, thanks for joining us. Is that what you're talking about? Because we're not going to do that same game that we did last time. So there was another case where the footage was so poor, everyone was zooming in on it. And so you get like these digital artifacts in your visual viewing when you're zooming in like that, little blocky squares and shit. And people were like, "Oh my god, there's a troll in the picture," or everyone had a different theory. Everyone who zoomed in on it saw something different. So yeah, I don't know that that's a good idea. And no matter how superior your software is, if you've got a shitty source, you still got a shitty source. Your computer can be super duper, but you still got a shitty source of material. It's still got all these blocky artifacts in it. So even a super duper computer is still going to see blocky artifacts because that's the source. That's the quality of the source. The corrupt judge. The corrupt and judge are real idiots. I know, nobody believes them, right? Exactly. Hey, Sav. Hey, Sav. Sav. Before your day starts, we are at 6:30 a.m. here, an hour and a half into the day starting. Yes, so yes, Suzanne, I reckon he covered the lot. So we do have some Easter eggs here. We definitely going to see some sparks fly during this trial because, we're going with the third party culprit defense. Soddy is definitely in. We're going to have shade thrown on Whiffin directly in this particular case. We're going to have shade thrown directly on Trooper Guarino because he was the one who had custody of this file. and he's the one who also committed the Brady offense, essentially. If Judge Bev doesn't allow, if Judge Bev doesn't do anything else on this Brady violation, at the very least she has to do a sanction. So there's another Easter egg for you, that if she doesn't do a sanction or anything about this blatant violation, Brady violation, then oh my god, Karen's list of freaking appealable issues just grows every time one of these dimwits opens their mouths, essentially. So good stuff. Well, good luck with that. Have fun with your massive horse event. So thanks for stopping in and saying hello. Well-deserved shade, right? So there you go. There's quite a few little Easter eggs in that. He's definitely bringing the goods. So doing things the way he's doing them this time round, excuse me, means that it means that the defense can now fire like more questions and cross-examination of Tribagorino and Ian Whiffin and what's the name, Jessica Hyde. So we're going to see probably a little bit more fireworks going on with those cross-examinations, I would say. So there were some things the comments that he made, and I think they might be back here. Oh, I know where they'll be. They'll be in the other one. Hang on, let me go back to the other one. Richard Green. Lana de Turtle, everybody. Lana Del Turtle, everybody. She's always got the goods. Right, let's go into this one. There wasn't so many Easter eggs in here, but there was, some points that everybody else has already focused on and pointed out, but we might as well do it for the sake of doing it. Why the hell not? So, before I do it though, let me refresh my coffee. Let me get a new coffee and then we'll start reading this. All right, questions, class. Hit me with questions because I can still see the screen while I'm making the coffees. Oh, I still got coffee left. All right, questions on the screen. I'm going to have a quick pause, write all the questions. I'll be back. Oh my God, there's no questions. Exactly, Eddie. Can't live without the coffee. I'm also going to be chewing in your ear, having my breakfast. Not really breakfast. I've been up for quite a bit, so it's kind of like morning tea. Here's a question. Do you need to run grey key if you have phone passcode? No, it's not a dumb question. So what you do with grey key, you use that to extract the phone. So to actually extract the phone, yes, you do need to have it unlocked. So on the phone, you need to have the passcode. And then you run the grey key on it. And then it extracts the image without the passkey. Kevin has a question. In the Sully port? This is a trick question. Who, if anyone, is driving this bus to Crazy Town? I still think it's Lally driving, to be honest. I know. I still think it's Lally because it just gets dumber by the day, right? You got redlined. Is that the same as getting red-eyed? Where'd you get redlined to? Candy has a question. You're welcome. Sorry. Mouthful. The inverted phone, exactly, Lumpy. Thank you, JC. Glad I'm helping someone do some work. Guys, I have 17 days left before my new excavator arrives. So the day that arrives, I'm going to be, wow, lots of work. Lots and lots of work, like really physical, hard labor work. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get back in shape because I've been mucking around on the internet and not doing any physical work like I normally would. So it's going to be fun getting back into shape. All right, the kettle's boiled. I'll be back in a jiffy. All right, we're back. What did I miss? No, it was all. This is all Lally's doing from the beginning, and the fact that they still have it and still haven't turned it over means it's still Lally, right? Eric says, evil Morrissey, next act of corruption, corrupt jurors, probably. I don't know. Like, it's difficult. If you ask for a change of venue, so Morrissey can't jimmy the jury, look, personally, if I was the defendant, I would be wanting them to change it. I would have asked for it by now. I would have asked for it way back when Judge Canoni refused to what's the word? Recuse herself. I'd have asked for it way back then. And then, had a fair judge accepting, into evidence what should be in evidence and rejecting from evidence what should not be in evidence. So you're welcome, Chronic. Thank you very much for joining us. Gitmo, there were 2 cameras inside the Sallyport Bay pointing to each other. Did the second camera record at the same time and is missing, or did that camera record at a different time? No, they were recording at the same time. It's just when we were showing what they had from the other camera, it was just blur. It was it was white noise, essentially. I don't know what the defense's strategy is with not requesting a change of venue. There's been multiple opportunities here where they probably should have. But those dudes kick ass, man. They've both got a pretty good success rate with cases that they've represented. So I'm not going to question them. They kick ass. I mean, they've got a reason that they're doing it this way. Well, it depends. You can ask for a whole bunch of things. But you can have a change of venue. Like if you keep the same judge, you can have a change of venue with the same judge where they ship the jurors in from another county or another area. Or you can simply move it to another courthouse in another county. So there's different ways that you can go about it. But I've seen both. Like change of venue in the Delphi 4 case, not Delphi, Idaho 4 case. Koberger. He asked for a change of venue. He got a new judge as well, instead of shipping in a jury from somewhere else. So what are we having problems with? Do you need me to do something? I don't know what the problem is. I missed something, guys. Yep, they sure are, Eddie. Round and bloody circles. I nearly said bliggin. For bloody and friggin in the same word, bliggin. Round and bliggin circles. All right. Coolies. Alrighty. Well, let's get this document. Hang on, I need to finish my mouthful. There was a couple of Easter eggs on this. Oh, you too, Suzanne. Lurk away. Right. Now comes the defendant. Respectfully requests this dishonorable court dishonorable deny the Commonwealth's motion to exclude the expert testimony of Richard Green as to 1, his expert opinion that a Google search for how long to die in kicked or how long die in cold was made on Jennifer McCabe's phone prior to 26/23. 2, his expert opinion that Jen's phone encode user deletions of any data. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, there is no 3. And deny the Commonwealth's included request for an evidentiary hearing under the standards set forth in Daubert. The Commonwealth has not made any showing that the qualifications or methodology of Mr. Green do not satisfy Daubert. Instead, the Commonwealth's entire motion merely says it was debunked. He uses that sort of language. It's not the sort of language that you use in a motion, right? Debunked. Merely addresses the conclusions and opinions of Mr. Green. Matters that courts resoundingly state are the subjects for cross-examination and the jury, not the narrow function of the Daubert Lanigan judicial gatekeeper. Moreover, as this opposition clearly demonstrates, Mr. Green is eminently qualified, and his methodology pertaining to the subject matter of the instant motion is reliable. Well, as a result, hang on, something's not right here. Did I skip a page? Oh, as a result, in addition to denial of the motion, no evidentiary hearing is justifiable. The motion of the Commonwealth to exclude the trial testimony of Richard Green is just the latest in the Gatling gun dystopian approach, I like that language, of the Commonwealth to deny Ms. Reid the ability to present her defence through her well-credentialed methodologically reliable expert witnesses so she can have a fair trial against the baseless charges lodged against her. The expert witness of the defence here, Richard Green, testified as an expert witness in digital forensics in the first trial regarding his opinion that the Google search existed in the data from the phone belonging to Jen McCabe and in a deleted state, without any objection from the Commonwealth as to his qualifications or methodology. And for good reason, Mr. Green has been accepted in several United States courts as an expert in digital forensics. The methodology that Mr. Green employed in the first trial was the same methodology that the proffered experts for the Commonwealth employed. That is, Mr. Green and the 2 proffered experts of the Commonwealth received the same raw image file from Jennifer McCabe's phone, verified the hash signature value of the image file, took the image file and saved it to their computers, servers, hard drive, etc., and then processed and evaluated the image file with the appropriate tools such as Celebrite Analyzer and Magnetic Forensics Axiom. While Commonwealth Witness Ian Whiffin used only the Celebrite physical analyzer and RTX tools, Commonwealth Witness Jessica Hyde historically used 3 more tools than Ian Whiffin, and Richard Green used at least as many tools as Jessica Hyde. So these two used 5 tools, and he just used those 2 tools. The company he works for and his own software. Where are we? Richard Green uses at least as many tools as Jessica Hyde, with Green and Hyde using 4 of the same tools. Notably, although Jessica Hyde previously used 4 of the 5 tools used by Richard Green in her initial analysis, all but Celebrite, are now disconcertingly absent from her December report. Now she's only going to use 2 pieces of software. Submitted with the Commonwealth's motion, despite her admonitions in her previous reports that it is best to use multiple tools. Importantly, it was undisputed by all expert witnesses at the first trial that the 2:27 a.m. search artifact was indeed present on the iPhone of Jan McCabe after analysis using Cellbrite Physical Analyzer forensic technology available on the market at the time. It is thus completely inexplicable how the Commonwealth can now challenge the methodology of Richard Green, whose methodology is the same as and then more comprehensive than that of the digital forensics witnesses of the Commonwealth. It is, indeed. It is the opinions and conclusions, not the methodology, of the witnesses that differ, but that difference is not a Daubert Lanigan issue. Correct. So Daubert Lanigan, which we learnt from Dr. Russell's hearing, right, was strictly about the scientific basis from which she drew her conclusions. That's what the Daubert is meant to be. We know the scientific basis now of Green's conclusions because he attached it as Exhibit B. So therefore, there is no reason for Judge Beverly Cannoni to do anything else but deny the Commonwealth's claims here. The Brady violations are stunning. I have no faith Bev will do the just and right thing. There's certain things that Bev has no choice in. Just like I said, she has no choice in letting in Russell. If she didn't let Russell in, then she was creating an appealable, immediately appealable issue that would have gone up to the appeals court and held everything up again. If she does it, she's tied. I agree with you. I have no faith that she'll do the just and right thing, but I also know that she's covering her ass. So she'll do whatever she can plausibly get away with, but still covering her ass. Does that make sense? If Karen's second trial ends in a mistrial, will the Commonwealth have a third trial? Most likely. So the Commonwealth, the very same Commonwealth, had, I think it was 4 attempts. I've actually misstated this a number of times in chats, so let me just correct it because I have found out. 4 attempts at the, oh my God, that case is actually mentioned here. Another murder case, anyway. They had 4 attempts at it. There were 3 mistrials, and the 4th one they ended up scoring the guilty verdict. So yeah, the Commonwealth will keep going. They won't stop. I'm just stunned that there's so much in this case that's clearly dirty, yet they're still bringing it. Exactly, Simi. I am on the same page as you. Eric says, I hate when you go to court. Do you promise to say the truth, so help me God? And the corrupt is going to lie anyway. Yep. Clearly they don't believe in God. Bev has had ample opportunity to drop this case thanks to the conduct of the prosecution. She chooses not to. Precisely, Kevin. Good to hear the defense and Green not hold back. Yes. Hi, Kimberly. Thanks for joining us. Not a tech question. If Bev doesn't do the right thing, what would be the repercussions as far as after trial? So these things that we're going through now, the Daubert Lanigan things, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe these are instantly appealable. So as soon as she makes the screw up, they can appeal them. But some things have to wait until after trial. So I think, for example, the withholding evidence, withholding exculpatory evidence, for example, and even just the withholding any evidence that one's state and the other one's federal, those ones you would have to wait until after trial. So there's certain things that can be appealed right away and they will hold everything up, and then there's certain ones that they would have to wait until after the trial to appeal them. But her list of after trial is so freaking long now. Like, this case isn't going to end anytime soon. The after trial stuff's going to be just as big as the actual trial stuff. So Green was left with no choice but to defend himself and his company after Brennan's attack. Well, I agree with that, Kevin. He wasn't left with any choice. Like, it was so bombastic to go, oh, we have debunked this. It's like, it was crazy. Like, it was in the motions header that this was going to be completely and totally unprofessional, smash below the belt. She will hide under judicial discretion. The best outcome for the defense is if she makes an error in law and then they can appeal. Well, correct, but if she calls a Daubert Lanigan on these issues, like on Green, for example, there's absolutely no reason for her to do it. Like, the evidence that he is qualified is all there. So, but I do think that she's trying to hide a lot of her decisions under judicial discretion. I do think an error in law would be right now allowing this Daubert because it's not based on law. It's based on we debunked it. So that would be an error in law. I don't know that that would be the case with Dr. Russell because her expertise and her, even though we know she's totally qualified, I don't think that was entirely appealable because it was a judicial discretion about what her qualifications were, simply for the fact that dog bite experts or expertise is actually a questionable science. So Dr. Russell's wouldn't have been an appealable issue. This one will be, for sure. This one will be, the law supports Green not having a Daubert, and the judge ruling any other way would be actually her misinterpreting the law for it. But, when it comes to these sort of opinions, you really need to watch the lawyers. That's why I give you, like, who all the lawyers are, so you can pick the personality that you like from my mashups and go listen to them, because they give you the legal analysis that I can't. So these would be things that I would defer to the lawyers about their opinions on this. So I know Peter from Lawyer, he talked yesterday about misuse of Lanigan, and I believe Andrea Burkhart, I think she put a message on X about the misuse of the Lanigan statute. So that's why I think this is appealable. If Bev rules on it, she wants to hold a Daubert Lanigan hearing. I think that that's probably an error in interpretation of the law, and allowing them to use it improperly. But I will do a mashup on that so that you get to hear what all the different lawyers said about that particular thing. So you're getting it from them, because I'm not a lawyer, guys. I try to interpret, what I can from. I know how to look up case law. I know how to match it to, the thing that you're trying to argue. I got the gist of all of that, but I'm not a lawyer, and I'm certainly not an American lawyer. So, yeah, I think it actually might have been. I think it might have been EDB that I actually watched as well. So I think it's like, from memory, EDB, Pete from Lawyer, and Andrew D. Myers. I think they're all saying that, actually. I think they're all in agreement on that. And then, of course, Andrea's post on X. I don't know that she gets a lot of time to make videos. Sometimes she takes time off work to cover a case. But otherwise, if she's not specifically taking off time to do that, you're only going to get a video every so often. So, oh, cool. Glad you love my mashups. It's the lawyers that make the mashups good. But when the lawyers are all in concert with each other, that's what makes the best mashup. Because then I can just take the entire thing that is said and move from lawyer to lawyer. So when they're all in concert with the same sort of opinion, that makes actually the best mashups. But it doesn't happen often. Every now and again they're just in concert with each other. Okay, so let's go back to reading this again. Where were we? Where was I? The Commonwealth to exclude the trial testimony of Richard Green is just the latest in the Gatling gun. We read that. The expert witness of the defence here, Richard Green, testifies an expert in the digital forensics in the first trial. I think we read that too. And for good reason. Right. The methodology that Mr. Green employs was also employed by them. Well, the Commonwealth, I think we actually got over here somewhere, didn't we? Sorry. I'll work it out shortly. Importantly, it was undisputed that the artifact actually did exist. Right. It is thus completely inexplicable how the Commonwealth can now challenge the methodology. We read that too. We got to here. So, what has changed since the first trial? The answer is disturbingly Orwellian and brings the prosecution closer to, if not squarely within, the danger zone of legal tyranny. After the first trial, the proffered expert witness for the Commonwealth, Ian Whiffin, a law enforcement-centric digital forensics consultant, appears to have gone back to his company Celebrite to have its researchers perform further updates to its physical analyzer programs, such that the artifact containing the 227 timestamp has now suddenly disappeared from all Celebrite programs. But it still appears in all the others. Interestingly, see January 2025 search artifact has now nefariously become, without explanation, the Orwellian unperson. After Celebrite completely rid itself of the timestamp artifact that is incredibly convenient to the theory of the case of the Commonwealth, Commonwealth now comes before the court saying that the unilateral and unexplained Celebrate updates to remove that search artifact should control whether a jury is able to evaluate whose digital forensics theory about the artifact is most accurate. And in doing so, And in doing so, glaringly, the Commonwealth does not address the other forensic tools, such as magnet forensics Axiom, that Miss Hyde used in 2023, that Mr. Green used in the first trial and continues to use up to this day, and that still contains and shows the 227 artifact, nor the other digital forensic tools that Mr. Green used. Additionally, the motion of the Commonwealth is legally insufficient on its face. It is legally insufficient. See, it would be an error in law if she actually did allow this. The motion is not supported by one affidavit. The motion does not, I think he means like one single affidavit. Nothing supports it. The motion does not even begin to meet its going forward obligation to state how Mr. Green is now, suddenly after the first trial, supposedly not qualified. Nor does the motion even begin to identify what the Commonwealth believes is the proper methodology to address the 227 search artifact, or why the methodology employed by Mr. Green to analyse it is not reliable. Perhaps this failure is due to the fact that Mr. Green is eminently qualified, including more qualified in data forensics than Mr. Whiffin, and that the methodology Mr. Green employed includes the same and entire methodology of the proffered witnesses for the Commonwealth, plus his addition of additionally accepted digital forensic tools. I'm not sure that all those additions were necessary, but to prevent the continued abuses of Miss Reed by the Commonwealth, including the bleeding of her financial resources and distractions from her and her defence team's preparation for trial, the invasion of the province of the jury, and other broader jurisprudential maladies, this court must deny the Commonwealth's motion and its included request for an evidentiary hearing. Let's go see what you guys are saying about that so far. Beva's had ample opportunity to drop this case thanks to the conduct of the prosecution, and she chooses not to. Very, very true. Good to hear they're not holding back, right? They come out with all guns blazing. I'm rereading old messages, aren't I? She will hide under. All right, everyone. Every time we're close to the truth, objection sustained. Nobody believes the corrupt. Exactly. Hang on. I haven't got any more later messages. Hang on. What's going on here? We're good. We're good. I thought maybe I dropped offline. Oh, that was a boo-boo. Case history of the digital forensics analysis. All right. For 3 years in this case, there has been no dispute over the methodology employed by the defence to address the issue. This is the methodology in Exhibit B attached by Richard Green. On June 21st, 2024, Richard Green testified at trial as a defence expert without any objection to his qualifications or methodology. The use of digital forensics tools to analyse data on the raw image file. As he stated in that testimony, after receiving the raw image file of the data contained on Jen's phone, Mr. Green used 5 digital forensic tools to evaluate and analyze the data. Celebrite Physical Analyzer, Magnet Axiom, Belkasoft, Sanderson's Forensics SQL Forensic Explorer, and Artex. See all these documents and pages. Those findings were consistent with the April 2024 April 24, 2023 report of Trooper Nicholas Guarino, who testified as a proffered expert of the Commonwealth in the first trial. Mr. Guarino reported that while the 2:27 a.m. search artifact actually did not appear on the version of the Celebrite physical analyzer that he had used for his May 4, 2022 analysis of Jen's phone, Mr. Green had used then the newest version of Physical Analyzer, which did depict the 2:27 a.m. search artifact. The newest version was able to pull an artifact in the browser state DB war file, How Long to Die in the Cold, deleted. Inexplicably and unexplained up to this day, Trooper Guarino did not disclose in his report of April 2023 that the Axiom program he used at that time did show the 2:27 a.m. search artifact. See Guarino's report. Mr. Green's findings were further consistent across all 5 tools that he employed. So yeah, essentially, let me just do a little recap. So Trooper Guarino only reported from the Celebrite not seeing it. He didn't actually report that the other softwares actually did see it. So, but Green's was consistent across all 5 softwares. Basically, he came to the same conclusion and saw the same artifacts, and remained consistent with findings as of January 2025 from analysis performed in the most recent version of Axiom, which continues to report the same artifact. Like Mr. Green, Mr. Whiffin's methodology was to use digital forensic tools to analyze the raw image file of data from Jen's phone. Unlike Mr. Green, however, Mr. Whiffin used only 2 digital forensic tools. Yeah, should we actually go and do a Daubert on Mr. Whiffin? Because I wonder how much experience he actually has in digital forensics. He's probably got more of a background in writing software, if I had to guess. Celebrite Physical Analyzer in his company's tool and his company's tool, Artex. Celebrite Physical Analyzer, his company's tool, and Artex, his own tool. After performing an analysis using then on market Celebrite Physical Analyzer program, Mr. Whiffin testified at the first trial and reported that he had seen the 2:27 search artifact. Brackets. See the defendants, blah, blah, blah. Thus, while he disagreed with Mr. Green's opinion about whether that information indicated a search for How Long to Die in the Cold was conducted at 2:27 a.m., see defendant's trial, blah, blah, he did not dispute that this 2:27 a.m. search artifact was present in a deleted state during his analysis. He didn't dispute that. He agreed, yep, it was definitely there. He was disputing how it got there, but not that it was not there. Jessica Hyde also employed this methodology, originally using Celebrite Analyzer, Sanderson Forensics, Axiom, Artex, and iLeap. see her documents. 4 of these tools were amongst the 5 used by Mr. Green in his analysis. In her May 2023 report and in a testimony at trial, Ms. Hyde agreed with Mr. Green and Mr. Whiffin that she had also seen the 227 search artifact during her analysis. It's blip, 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 blip. Just referring to the documents that came from. She also admitted in her May 2023 report that it appeared in a deleted state. She disagreed with Mr. Green's opinion about whether this information indicated that his search was conducted at that time, but she did not dispute that the search existed. Da, da, da. If I remember correctly, they both had to say it existed so that they could do their analysis on how it existed. So I think that's what it was, but it did exist. Dun, dun, dun. Inexplicably, Miss Hyde changed her analysis. This is probably the biggest Easter egg. Oh, I can't highlight that. This is probably the biggest Easter egg out of all of them. Like, serious. That she has changed. So remember Dr. Russell, Hank come at her sideways saying something to the effect of, "Oh, you changed your analysis." And she kept saying, "Well, no, I haven't. I'm just adding more details to it. Just being far more detailed and precise here." And now it's actually one of their witnesses who has literally changed their report. So Simi says, so she did the damn search. She is the one, in my opinion, that told Karen she hit John. Jen gaslit Karen that night so bad. I agree, Simi. Completely agree. Completely. All right. So yeah, Jessica Hyde actually changed her methodology, which is one of the Easter eggs, I think, that the defense laid out here. Where was that? It was here. Inexplicably, Miss Hyde changed her analysis and findings from her May 2023 report to align with Mr. Whiffin after a Celebrite manipulated update to one physical analyzer program, Insights, which the defense learned about approximately 1 week before trial began, magically removed the timestamp. Using only this updated Celebrate tool and no others, Miss Hyde drafted a new report in December 2024, taking back without explanation her original conclusion that the artifact containing the 227 timestamp was presented on the iPhone in a deleted state. She opined instead that the artifact was not present in a deleted state or otherwise, citing merely an unsupported conclusory and scientifically insufficient assertion that the timestamp was not reliable. So she switched from basically saying, yep, it was there and I saw it, to now it's not there and the timestamp is not reliable. Like Mr. Whiffin, neither Miss Hyde nor the Commonwealth explain how the update occurred or any significant reason for the change. The Commonwealth simply makes the same bold, conclusory statement as Miss Hyde, that further research shows the timestamp is not reliable. The Commonwealth provides no explanation for that assertion, nor does it provide any information as to the reasons why that supposed search allegedly finds the 2:27 a.m. why the research doesn't find the artifact. And this artifact alone to be unreliable. No other artifact on the phone has any issues or has been deleted but this one. And it's the only one that's unreliable. It also provides no information about the methodology of that research or any other information regarding what changes were made, how, or why. See, you could come up with a different theory if you change your methodology, but they're not claiming that she changed her methodology. She's using the same methodology. She's just using fewer programs now to make a different conclusion. Critically, despite the manipulation associated with this unexplained update and the accompanying sudden change in the analysis of the Commonwealth's profit experts, Miss Hyde's second report does not represent a different methodology, but rather a narrowing of and change in opinion about the presence of the search. In this second report, she employs the same methodology as she did in the first trial and as Mr. Green and Mr. Whiffin employed, but deletes mention of an inconvenient Axiom tool that she used in a 2023 report, which is, as of the date of this opposition, continues to show the artifact in a deleted state. And she reaches a different conclusion. The only difference, in fact, between the application of the methodology by the Commonwealth's profit experts and the application of the methodology by Green is that the former is entirely encompassed by the latter. The former is entirely encompassed. Right, so they've narrowed their methodologies, but Green includes all of it. Green has simply used more tools in employing the same methodology, and thus was able to conduct a more thorough forensic data analysis. The appropriateness and reliability of Mr. Green's all-encompassing methodology is evidenced by the fact that all the experts agreed and opined at some point during the first trial that the 227 search artifact existed and appeared in a deleted state. Mr. Green's methodology is further supported by Jessica Hyde's testimony that it's important to use multiple tools so you can see the results from different data sets. That's going to come up. There's another Easter egg. So whatever she testified to in the first trial, it is absolutely going to be thrown in her face on cross-examination in 2.0. Every word she said, they're going to pull it up. We're going to have Jen McCabe moments all over the place, right? She's going to be like, hang on, do I really have to read the 2,000-page report that I wrote? It's all going to be thrown back in her face. And same with Whiffin. Anything he testified to in 1.0 is going to be thrown back in his face in 2.0. So they can do that to Richard, but he's not changing his story. He's adding more detail to clear up any misconceptions. So she did the damn search, right? I got that, Simi. Jen said at 227 she did search for the hockey mock, right? Correct. But she deleted that search, unlike the almost 4,500 other searches. She didn't delete the hockey mock sports search. She left that one there. She deleted the different ID, the one with the different ID. She deleted that one. For how long it was the same time at 2:27 a.m., give or take, a couple of seconds. But yeah, the Hockamock one wasn't deleted. But they both had different identifications on them. So the tab ID is what changed. One tab ID started with an A, big long number, hexadecimal number starting with an A. The second Hockey Mock tab started with a C. So, yeah, but she didn't delete that one because, obviously the Hockey Mock Sports one isn't inculpatory for her. So, Where were we? Oh my god, I just turned too many pages. Shit. Pardon the pun. I think we were here somewhere, weren't we? Not present. Oh, I see. We'd turned this page. We were over here somewhere. Blah, blah, blah. I think it might have been the last sentence down here. Mr. Green's methodology is further supported by Jessica Hyde's testimony that it is important to use multiple tools. That's where we were up to. And that doing so is absolutely pertinent and allows her to ensure that she's getting the most complete interpretations. This mimics the approach of Mr. Green and is counter to the myopic and company-biased approach of Mr. Whiffin, to which Miss Hyde now disquietingly has morphed. The experts' disagreement is not over the methodology, but rather their opinions based on whether the 2:27 a.m. search artifact indicates that Jen conducted a search for Haslong to die in the cold at or before that time, contrary to the assertion of the Commonwealth. This is a paradigmatic, paradigmatic battle of the experts. Whew, they're using some big words on me here. So is it possible for forensics to find out when it was deleted? So Green actually covered the whole when it was deleted thing. That there was there's no table on the phone. There's no database on the phone that contains fields for that. So what it is it's a result of a piece of code that asks to compare things. So it says it's a bit of code that says pull these records out of this database and then pull these records out of this database, comparing the results. What do we have left? And then that code will spit out a line that says deleted yes or deleted no. So that's what Richard Green was kind of explaining in his report, that it's not saved in a database anywhere. It's the result of some code, essentially. It's a piece of code that makes a decision based on comparing the data out of the databases. I believe Green mentions it being deleted by someone. He only found the artifacts in the WAR file. All other info on the search was deleted. I believe Whiffin actually testified to that. Whiffin said, so there's these other files called session files, and they should have that same tab ID associated with them. Whiffin said that he wasn't able to put together the session files. He could only find one page of the session files. The rest had been deleted. So he found one page, which is only, this is what the session file is about, and here's the ID number. But all the rest of it, like what was actually searched and at what time, all that sort of stuff, he couldn't piece that back together into the session files. So all the other info, being the session files, were deleted. And it was, I'm pretty sure Green did testify to it, but I also remember going back over Whiffin's testimony. He also said those other session files are also missing. And it's great. It would be great to figure out where she did start the Google search, in the Albert's lawn or at her own bedroom. yeah, wouldn't it be good to have the location of where she was at when she did that? So that would have been good to add to the fray. Kimberly says, thanks. I was hoping there may be a possible timestamp in the code. No, because the code is going to run independent of any time. So it doesn't matter if you turn your phone on last week or you turn it on next week. The code's still going to run. It's not independent of time. The time stamping comes from, that's what the database is for, to create the time stamps and to create a whole bunch of them, whether you did it every day for the last 2 weeks or you did it 5 times a day. It's all collected in the database. The code itself just says, get that from the database, show me what it is so I can make comparisons, essentially. So no, there's no timestamps in the code. Oh yeah, he's absolutely freaking saying that someone tried to deliberately hide the search. He absolutely is. 100%. He's even like, he's one step short of saying Trooper Guarino did this. He says an unknown, person, but he's saying Trooper Guarino for sure. Right, so where were we? Blah, 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 blah. We were up to this one, weren't we? The court should deny. Access denied. What was that show? I think that was a movie, wasn't it? Wasn't it that, what was that movie? With the rollerblade, the high-tech rollerblading movie. What was that one? Access denied. The motion, the court should deny the motion's request to exclude Richard Green. The Commonwealth's motion is deficient on its face. The motion to exclude certain expert testimony of Richard Green is deficient on its face in the 2 aspects of Daubert Lanigan applicable to this motion. The Commonwealth claims that Mr. Green is not qualified and that his methodology is unreliable, but provides no explanation as to why. In fact, the Commonwealth doesn't even describe the methodology of Mr. Green, which it asserts is unreliable and seeks to exclude. Yeah, I think you actually do have to be specific. I don't think you can just cover it with a blanket debunked statement. The Commonwealth's motion is not only bereft with respect to the 2 appointed prongs of the Daubert Lanigan inquiry, qualifications and reliability of methodology, but also with respect to other aspects of its analysis. See, Dr. Russell's qualifications were like hunky-dory. Where I think the judge decided she could make room and she could get away with judicial discretion was the reliability of methodology. At the point that was put forward to her in the motion to do it, it was described as dog bite analysis, and that methodology is not reliable. So I think the judge she covered her bases with that one. I don't think she's going to get away with qualifications or reliability on this. She's not going to get away with judicial discretion this time. This is absolutely going to be an error in law if she allows it. But also with respect to other aspects of its analysis. Nowhere in the motion does the Commonwealth discuss the general acceptance precept of Commonwealth versus Davis or the 5 non-exclusive factors of Daubert. What little the Commonwealth does say about the law is rote and does not address the question at issue here. The Commonwealth also fails to mention that Rintala That's the other case, guys. So the Rintala case, I think she was an ambulance. I think she was like EMT or something like that. She came home and found her wife dead at the bottom of the stairs or something along those lines. They prosecuted her 4 times before they got their guilty verdict. And obviously, to be quoting a Rintala precedent means that she obviously got something through the appeals court. So the Commonwealth, and I think this was actually based on the paint experts. The Commonwealth also fails to mention that the Commonwealth versus Rintala instructs that the crucial inquiry for Daubert Lanigan purposes is whether the profit expert is qualified. So the paint expert was actually qualified, but whether there was a reliability of that particular science was a different question. So Mr. Green overwhelmingly satisfies the qualified standard. I did it again. I gotta keep an eye on where I'm at before I do that stupid move. So when I'm zoomed in like this, it's 2-finger drag and that zooms me in. But when I've zoomed out, 2-finger drag turns the page. So it's confusing the hell out of me. Let's stick some power on here so we don't run out. And the motion for the Commonwealth is not supported by any affidavit. An affidavit detailing all facts relied upon in support of the motion and signed by a person with personal knowledge of the factual basis of the motion. Yep, that was certainly missing, right? It would be great to figure out where she did. Okay, we read that. The name of the movie was, yes, thank you. There was access denied. That was in that movie, wasn't it? I'm sure it was. Yes, JC. I'm agreeing with you. Absolutely. That is what he's saying. All right. Coffee drink time. Some of this is best read by a lawyer, I think. I recommend attorney Melanie Little for some of the legal, implications here. Where was we up to? All right. The Commonwealth additionally misses the point of a Daubert Lanigan. It argues, for example, that Mr. Green's opinions as to the artifact containing the stamp lack any evidentiary support. Well, what a load of rubbish. The fact that it exists makes it evidence. Its mere existence makes it evidentiary. Cannot be made in good faith, but the Commonwealth guy said it was there, so it exists. Constitute baseless claims. Well, it's based on the Commonwealth's own witnesses agreeing that it actually was there. And have been debunked. Not a legal term, whatever the hell that is. It's not a methodology, that's for sure. These claims, in addition to being false, have no relevance to the methodology inquiry. They relate only to cross-examination and jury determinations. Even if the motion of the Commonwealth was not deficient on its face, Mr. Green easily meets the requirements of Daubert. Broadly, the Daubert Lanigan inquiry involves evaluation of both the qualifications and the methodology. Again, it's citing Rintala, the same case I was just talking about. They tried it 4 times and finally got a guilty verdict. The crucial issue in determining whether a witness is qualified to give an expert opinion is whether the witness has sufficient education, training, experience, and familiarity with the subject matter of the testimony. In addition, under Daubert Lanigan, the judge, acting as gatekeeper, is responsible for making a preliminary assessment whether the theory or methodology underlying the proposed testimony is sufficiently reliable to reach the trier of fact. In making that assessment, the court may consider whether the scientific theory or process has been generally accepted in the relevant scientific community. 2, has been or can be subject to testing. 3, has been subjected to peer review and publication. 4, has an acceptably high known or potential rate of error. And 5, is governed by recognized standards. All of those get a pass. So I don't know how the judge is going to get away with this, if at all she's going to even try. When applying this standard, judges must be careful not to invade the province of the jury. So that would be a judicial judicial discretion whether or not she's invading the province of the jury. But to ignore all of those 5 things and tick all of those boxes and say I'm still going to make the Daubert happen, that would be an error in judgment. Critically, it is the qualification and methodology of the expert, not their conclusions, which the judge is tasked with evaluating. Differences of opinion present issues of credibility, which are properly preserved for the jury. Indeed. We had these exact same discussions with Dr. Russell, right? Accordingly, expert witness testimony should not be deemed unreliable simply because there is a disagreement of opinion or any level of confidence among experts, or because the judge disagrees with the expert's opinion or finds the testimony unpersuasive. Such disagreements make up the battle of the experts. So something the lawyers have been pointing out, which I would say is interesting, is to Peter definitely pointed out, and absolutely Andrew D. Myers did. I can't remember what Emily said about it. They're misusing Daubert as a means to what's the word I'm trying to think of? I don't know why my head just went blank. A means to depose. As a means to depose. So if you want a deposition from there's ways you can get depositions, I think, in a criminal trial, but it's not as generally you're prevented from getting the deposition. I think that's what they were saying. Generally, you'd be prevented from deposing witnesses, except under exceptional circumstances. There's no exceptional circumstances in this, so the only other way to bypass that and get your deposition would be through a Daubert. So thank you, JC. Deposition is exactly what I was trying to say. So yeah, that's what the lawyers are saying, that this is a underhanded way and a misuse of the Daubert Lanigan to get depositions ahead of the trial, essentially. and then anything that they've said there that can be held against them in trial. So, which is generally what a deposition is used for. So, where are we? We were up to this one. Oh, Richard Green's education, training, and experience and familiarity qualify him as an expert. Yep, they do. And I don't know that I need to go back through that. The only reason I want to read this was just to read to you how the defense was saying Jessica Hyde changed her testimony. She's rewritten her report and come up with a different conclusion. So now her conclusion matches Whiffin's, whereas before it didn't. So, which is interesting. But what else did we have? It's all about his history and his education. Experience is not overwhelming in its own right. All right, so let's just go to that. The education, training, and experience described by Mr. Green is not only overwhelming in its own right, but also much more significant than that of the proffered prosecution expert Ian Whiffin. Whoa, shade. I'd like to have a Daubert on Ian Whiffin. What do you reckon? According to his own trial testimony, Mr. Whiffin has testified in the United States. Mr. Whiffin has only testified once in his entire career. Not even in Massachusetts. Mr. Whiffin also admitted at trial, unlike Mr. Green, he has no specific certifications in digital forensics. Oh my God. Let's have a Daubert on him. Other than a higher national certificate in computing. And does not have a degree in digital forensics or otherwise. By proffering Mr. Whiffin as an expert witness, the Common has tactically affirmed its belief that Mr. Whiffin is qualified. Accordingly, the Commonwealth's arguments regarding Mr. Green's qualifications should be rejected politely. Contrary to the Commonwealth's contention in their motion that Mr. Green was not broad and Mr. Green was not broad and vague during cross-examination. I think he kind of was a bit weak. I won't say broad and vague, but I would say he was a little weaker than Whiffin was. What say you guys? I reckon he was a little weaker. Like, when you're just looking expert to expert at trial 1.0, I do think Whiffin came across like far more confident and straightforward, whereas Dr. Green was a little weaker in those regards. But I'm pretty sure he's going to come out firing in 2.0. I don't think they're going to get the same two characters out of Russell and Green in 2.0. Imagine if the Commonwealth tried to hire Mythbusters. Imagine that. Trial 1 is a deposition. Hank likely hasn't watched the first trial. Yeah, that's what I reckon too, JC. Like, I know he's got the transcripts, and like, honestly, he's going to sit there and read all the transcripts, and you can just watch the trial. You could just watch the trial on double speed and had it over and done with in half the time. But yeah, I'm sure he didn't think of that. Both EDB and Lee, said that the Commonwealth is using it to lock in witnesses' options and get the deposition. That's what I thought. Hank should... Exactly, Simmy. All right, where was I up to? I keep doing that, don't I? Every time I zoom out, I lose my spot. I think it was here. Contrary to the Commonwealth's contention in the motion, Mr. Green was not broad and vague. Mr. Green answered clearly and completely the only question the Commonwealth asked him about his training, experience, and certifications. Out of the 5 digital forensic tools Mr. Green used to evaluate the data from the phone, Lally chose one, Celebrate, and asked Mr. Green if he had a certification for that particular platform. Mr. Green stated clearly after seeking clarifications of the question that he had no such certification. He added that his certifications are much broader as they concern digital forensic fundamentals, how to conduct investigations, and which tools to use. His answers were specific and appropriately detailed. The Commonwealth statement is thus incorrect. Curiously, according to the Commonwealth's own argument, by omission, in this motion, Mr. Green remains qualified, and his methodology is reliable in several other areas of data forensics he testified about in the first trial. The Commonwealth challenges none of those several areas of digital forensics, namely the call logs deleted from Jennifer McCabe's phone, the screenshot of the contact information for Uncle Brian, Uncle Brian A deleted from the phone, the location data from Jan McCabe's phone, the health data from Jan McCabe's phone, blah, 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 the location data from John O'Keefe's phone, and health data from John O'Keefe's phone. That the Commonwealth does not challenge Mr. Green's qualifications as to these topics is further evidence of his eminent qualifications. Such a challenge would fail, as should this one. Green's methodology is reliable. Yes, we got that. We got that from his side of the story. Yes. Okie dokie. Anything that you guys want to specifically go over? So those are the main Easter eggs I think that we can pull out of it. We're absolutely having a third-party defense. We're absolutely going to shred Whiffin and his counterpart on the stand. That still hasn't been handed over to this day the actual files which would verify the data that anybody is looking at literally did come from that specific image of Jen's phone. That still hasn't been handed over. So we still got evidence rules being broken. One is absolutely exculpatory. I can't remember. I'm trying to recap all the Easter eggs that we just unpacked. What were the other ones? What did Green add to his affidavit last night? Green? Last night? This is last night's affidavit. Hang on. Let me just check. Let me check which affidavit this is. 29, 30, 31. Ah, really? It doesn't look like Lana has shared anything later. Here's what Andrea Burkhart says about lost or destroyed exculpatory evidence. This instruction may be given as one possible judicial remedy in cases where the defendant has established a reasonable possibility based on concrete evidence that lost or destroyed evidence would have been favorable to the defendant. The judge then must weigh the Commonwealth's culpability, the materiality of the evidence, and the prejudice to the defendant in determining what remedy is appropriate. So in reading to the jury, you have heard testimony that this evidence has been lost or destroyed in this case. You may infer that if the evidence had been preserved, it would have been favourable to the defendant. You are not compelled to make this inference, but you may, after considering all of the facts and circumstances you have heard about the loss or destruction of this evidence. Andrea says, this should earn the Commonwealth a destroyed evidence instruction, but why do I suspect Judge Bev will say there's no reasonable probability that the original video with the metadata that would show when and how it was inverted is exculpatory? Of course it's freaking exculpatory, Bev. Yeah, I don't see any later documents uploaded here. So if attorney Melanie Little has access, her and EDB both have access to the actual legal portal where this shit comes from. So yeah, it's not going to surprise me if they've got access to it, stuff that's not available to us yet. That's it. Thank you, Zeldabot. Hey, it's another bot. Aussiebot to Zeldabot. Just renumbered because number 5 was skipped in the first one. So Garino is in a modicum of trouble, methinks. Thanks for joining us, guys. Zeldabot and Lavinia. And yes, I think Garino is in a modicum of trouble. Indeed. Isn't it pretty clear Hanky is trying to bully everyone on the defense, lock, stock, and clock? I don't know that he's trying to bully him. I think he's just trying to get depots. I think he's fishing for depots. He's not entitled to depositions, I think, in criminal trial in Massachusetts. There's some specific circumstances. I just can't remember. You have to watch Lawyer, In fact, when I do the mashup, I'll try and pull it out for you. Pull that up, what Pete says about that. They filed a revision of the Green affidavit. There was a scrivener's error. Oh my God, not another scrivener's error. In the anomaly section, they are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 and they fixed one. Rightio. Green hasn't added anything. Thank you. Gotcha. All right. Was there anything else you wanted to know, like about either the defense's motion or the Green's document in support of the motion? I can close those tabs. You start closing some tabs now. And the Commonwealth clearly saved the Sallyport videos because they presented it after the 30 days of supposed override. They should be compelled to hand over the originals. Well, right, they should be. But if they just sit there and lie to the judge and go, we don't have them, judge. We ain't got no originals. You can't get blood out of a stone, judge. I mean, this is the whole reason that they deleted all this shit in the first place. So they could just sit there and go, we can't do it, judge. Don't have it, judge. But they also have their, what's it called? They have, immunity. They have immunity. So, whatever they done wrong, they're immune. They can't be sued, can't be punished. They actually do have immunity. So that's all right. I was actually having a joke because people say, like, Don't tell us your feelings. It's like, oh, you just like me to be a bot then. And just punch out sensational bloody whatever you want. But anyway, I make jokes about it all the time. So great presentation. No further questions for now. Well, I'm so glad that yeah, it's all bullshittery. I'm so glad that I am able to, iron out the technical jargon for you, pick out the Easter eggs. Zero chain of custody. Right. So with all of the other items in evidence, zero chain of custody, but now with Jen's phone, also zero chain of custody. So adding that to the list of zero chain of custody. It's pretty freaking crazy, right? Zero records of anything, zero records of, it's crazy. It's absolute crazy. Let's say if you were deliberately engaging in a litigation by attrition strategy to drain your opponent's resources with near frivolous motions, it would look a lot like this, says Andrea Burkhardt. So there you go, guys. We are done. I don't specifically, hang on, let's do a quick search. Let's just do a quick one of these. I just don't know if you really want to see what's actually being said. Oh, first up, Plevin making up stories. Plevin digs into Green's past and finds out. Guess what he finds out? Have a guess what it was that he found. He drank at a bar once. Dun dun dun! Oh my god. That's what that's about. Microdot says, that feeling when you realize you have 63 days until you have to get back on the stand and lie under oath in front of millions of people again. We're up next. Fuck, I'm nervous. All right. What did Boozy learn?
Because in moments they get all.
Okay, I don't want to get copyright strikes. Just got rid of all of them buggers. So no copyright strikes, please. Sorry, Boozy. I'm sure it was going to be good. Thanks for everything, Ozzy. You're welcome. Maybe Arca can build a giant butt. Wouldn't that be cool to see if it's serial butt dials? What a great idea, Gitmo. Snap. Drinking is a prerequisite for being Massachusetts. Apparently. All right. Yeah, so I'm just gonna end up with a copyright strike if I keep doing that. Sorry, guys. Let's stop sharing. I don't want to get things freaking copyright struck. I just got rid of a heap of them. And thank goodness I did. Hey, we're good. We're set to go. Maybe Lowy would be happy to test the alleged crash. Well, I think Lally was just happy to take Trooper Paul's word for it, to be honest. When you think about Trooper Paul's qualifications and you put Ian Whiffin up there next to him, you kind of got you got the same thing, but in the digital forensics, he's kind of the same thing as Paul is in the crash reconstruction. He's just better spoken. And Bev obviously thinks he's sexy. Instead of smacking the baby's bottom when they're born, they use a breathalyzer. Oh, that's interesting. No worries, Simi. Thanks for joining in. I was happy to do this. It's, right down my alley, the whole data thing. So the more the data stuff comes up, the happier I'll be. All right, so it looks like we don't have any more questions. We're kind of done. We spent the day 3 hours. Guys, this has got to be my record. Finish a stream in under 3 hours. Woot woot. It's a little bit over 3 hours, but that's still pretty good. Pretty damn good. It's mind-blowing how so many people were willing to taint their credibility. Isn't it just? Isn't it? So, and that's what happens with you make that decision that you're going to step over that ledge and start being dishonest. That's it. You're off the. It's not even like a gradual slope. It's just like bam, you stepped off the ledge. You're committed to it. You have no choice anymore. You can't take it back. You can't put the shit back in the horse. You're literally stuck with that decision. And like we see in so many other cases, the police don't want to be, they don't want to lose their pension. They don't want to lose their credibility, or what do you call it? Their ranking, whatever it is. They don't want to be disciplined. So, you just get that doubling down upon doubling down upon doubling down. It's kind of like a few other situations that I can think of, but people just double down. They don't know what's good for them. So it might have been better for some of them to just take a slap on the wrist or some kind of disciplinary action because they, screwed up or did something wrong or whatever. It might have been better for them to do that, because that's going to be the least punitive at the end of the day. What they're trying to avoid being punished for, those are actually the least punitive. What they're going to be punished for at the other end of all of this, yeah, that's not going to be pretty. That's going to be way worse. So, but it's funny how people do that. It's called a slippery slope for a reason. It's funny how people do that. They just skip the slope altogether. They just throw themselves off the cliff. So yeah, we have a lot of examples of that happening at the moment, which we won't talk about. All right, let me thank Kevin, the Sallyport camera, for modding for me tonight. Scotty, if you're still there, thank you. Pardon me. I forget who else is mod. Amy in Boston, thank you so much. I don't know who else to call out now. I have to scroll back too far for the rest. Lemmings, you reckon? Usually there'll be a scapegoat. In this case, they are all going down one by one. Yep, burn it all down. So, all right, that's it, guys. We are done. Good night, everyone. Good night, Kevin. Thank you for dropping by. I agree. Totally appreciated. Totally agreed. And you're welcome, Kevin. See you guys. Ciao.